Welcome to Behind the Mic. I'm Trixie Hernandez, your host. This podcast grew out of the Wonderkeepers Podcast. This show I host together with my kids, where we explore the wonder of God's creation. But here on Behind the Mic, we step into a quieter space. Every now and then, we pause the science and history adventures for just a moment and come into a place that is, well, behind it all, behind the scenes, behind the mic. A place especially for moms. Because while our children are exploring the wonders of God's world, we are faithfully shaping the hearts that will grow up to love God, trust His word, and then carry that wonder forward into the future. So, wherever you're listening today, whether you're folding laundry, driving somewhere, or trying to wash the dishes that seem to never have an end, I'm really glad you're here. So, whatever you're doing, let's spend a few minutes together here behind the mic. Hola, hola, chicas. I'm so excited to get started because, like I told you last week, during the month of May, we're doing something a little special. Each Friday, we're sitting down with a different mom and simply having a conversation about motherhood, the joys, the stretching, the faith, and the quiet moments where God meets us in the everyday. No interviews, but just two moms talking honestly about life and the sacred calling of raising our children. And this Friday on Behind the Mic, we're starting by sitting down with a mom who is walking through the early years of motherhood, which also happens to be the same stage that I'm in with my 4 little wonderlings. You know the season I'm talking about, the one filled with little footsteps running through the house, bedtime routines that sometimes takes a long time, endless questions, and days that can feel both very full but also very fast. It's a season that asks a lot of the mother's heart, but also where so many of the first seeds of faith, love, and family rhythms begin to take root. Today, I'm especially thankful and excited to have Rebecca Gedeon here with me. Rebecca came into my life right through a friend right at the perfect time when I was preparing to welcome my 4th baby. And from the very beginning, she was such a gift. She's the kind of person who not only carries a quiet confidence of herself, but somehow she leaves you feeling more confident too, just by being around her and listening to her. She's such a deep heart. She has such a deep heart for mom, especially those in the tender, life-changing moments surrounding birth. From preparing for it, to walking through it, to those first early days with the newborn. Well, she's devoted herself to serving and supporting families in such a meaningful way, the same way that she did with our. Through her business and Intercessory Birth, she comes alongside mothers with lots of knowledge and care, offering guidance that is both practical and deeply rooted in faith. Rebecca, I'm so glad you're here today. Welcome to Behind the Mic.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes. Finally, I ask it, and I love that you said, Trixie, you know what? I'm going to pray about it. And I'm like, yes, because moms that are listening, it's important. Whatever you do get into your ears, that whatever you listen to, I know it's going to affect your heart, your emotions, everything else. So it's very important that we're very cautious when we speak. And I love that whenever I ask her to come, she's like, let me pray about it, and then we'll see what happens. So Rebecca, you are here. And we're doing this, and I see that you're in the car.
That's I am. You can see the car seats.
That's a place that I actually record some of my podcasts today. It's backwards. My family, it's in the car. They're somewhere. It's driving somewhere, and then I'm the one taking over the house. But that where you're at, that's where I'm usually in. So, and acoustics and sound there, it's pretty good too.
I love it.
Okay, Rebecca. Now, before we jump into our conversation, I thought it would be fun to start with a little fun lightning round. Just quick answers, fun questions about family life. No overthinking, just say the first answer that comes to mind. Are you ready?
Okay,
let's do it. Here we go. First one, coffee. Hot, ice, reheat it 3 times because you don't get to finish it like sometimes, or none of the above.
I usually do it hot.
Okay.
Although in the summer, if I have an ice maker, I'll do it cold.
All right. And it's summer. Perfect.
And then I'll use, so headed into summer, I'll switch to more iced coffee than hot. But that hot coffee is life. It just is. So although I hate reheating my coffee, and the reason is I use dairy in my coffee. So I don't like reheating it because it just goes weird. So I'll just drink it cold after that point.
If it goes from being a hot coffee to just, I'm going to do a cold coffee instead of
Yeah, I have
All
been known
right.
to just chunk ice in there and keep going.
You see, you go with the flow. That's perfect. Now, laundry. I love this one. Okay. You fold it
Yeah.
right away or let the clean pile live on the couch for who knows when.
Oh, okay. So I'm the most type A person, but
Okay.
laundry is the bane of my existence. And so it will live in the laundry baskets or on the couch until, an undisclosed date. And then the kids will help fold it and put it away. It's actually one of my daughter's chores now.
Okay.
She 2 days
Nice.
a week she helps fold the laundry and get it put away. But it still lives on the couch like 90% of the time.
I don't blame you. I think I love hearing all the answers from the moms that I've been
Yeah.
talking to. And it's pretty much always the same. It is what it is. And the folding never ends. The
No, it never
laundry
does.
never ends. So, yeah. Okay.
Never.
So, tell me, what is a toy that it's currently taking over the house?
Um, the Legos. We are
Mm.
in Lego world now.
Oh,
So they
boy.
are everywhere all the time.
Uh-huh.
We had a season of Magnetiles, and then my grandparents gave us Car Track, so the Matchbox Car Track last weekend.
Okay.
So it was all over my house for 2 days until my kids started like trying to hit each other with it, and I nixed that.
Kids have such a talent to come up with new things. Sometimes they're
They
very good
do.
at it.
Yeah. Oh, it was great.
That's funny. That's I can totally relate.
Hmm.
Okay, here's the next one. How many times do you hear the word mom? I want to hear your answer because I know your
Oh
family.
my word.
How many in a typical day? How many times do you hear it?
I would be rich if I could count that high. Like, it's a lot. Because, of course, it's the typical every child has to say it about 20 times to get
Uh-huh.
your attention,
Uh-huh.
and then there's six of them. And so it's just mom, 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 mom.
It doesn't matter where they're at. They can be in the
Oh, yeah.
backyard or whatever, in the bathroom, doing their business,
Yeah.
and they're gonna call me. I
Oh,
mean, they don't
yeah.
have.
My daughter climbed the fence and got stuck. So we have a 50s farmhouse, and there's a planter bed in the front corner of
Uh-huh.
it. She climbed the fence, got stuck in the flower bed, and was
Oh,
screaming my name, but I couldn't hear her because I was inside the house.
mi
It's a 50s
amor.
farmhouse. There's amazing insulation in this house. My neighbor texts me. He's a
Oh,
retired
wow.
police officer. He's like, I think one of yours is stuck in a flower bed. I'm like, that
Good to-
tracks. Who's missing?
That reminds me. My kids and we've been watching. I love this movie before, but now I relate to it even more. The movie Cheaper by the Dozen. Have you watched that
Yes,
movie?
we
So
love that movie.
yeah, I do too. I loved it when I was a kid, and my parents had four. I only have four kids, but now that I'm a
Mhm.
mom, I'm like, oh, I see it from a
So
different
relatable.
angle. And then you telling me the story reminds me of
Yeah.
that because one of the
Yeah.
neighbors, whenever they moved into the new house, they're like, yeah, one of them is gonna come out. They're gonna be on the
Yeah,
missing child
the
billboard.
missing posters. Yeah, the milk cartons.
Ay,
Yes.
señor. Well, that's not gonna happen. Jason's name is just funny to think about, so we can just
It
joke about it.
is.
Okay. Anyways,
Yeah.
okay. Here's the last one. What is one bedtime routine your kids really love right now?
We have just instigated turning off TVs and doing story time.
Okay.
One of their favorite shows to watch is the story greatest stories from the storyteller or something. It was done by a pastor, and anyway, it's little Bible stories, and at the very end it shows them all climbing in their parents' bed and reading a book before they
Uh-huh.
go to bed, and it's like the biblical lesson for the day kind of thing. And so we started reading books. My mom gave me a huge stack of our little jewel books from when I was a kid,
Nice.
from Rod and Staff, and so we'll read a new one, and then we just started The Hiding Place.
Ooh, nice.
So yeah.
Nice. And they all sit together, or is it like kind of crazy at
Oh,
times?
it's kind of crazy.
Of course.
There's somebody spinning at all times. There's, people on their heads. It is what it is, but
Well, they're gonna remember that. So the fact that you're doing it like
yeah.
that and they're loving it, and then at times they
Mhm.
don't love it, but I'm pretty sure that the time that you don't do it, they're gonna be like, we haven't done
Yeah.
this. What my kids do, mommy, but we haven't read the books. I'm like, I know, I just want to get moving. So
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Rebecca, I love it. I love it. Okay, so now that everyone listening has gotten a little glimpse of your everyday mom life, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been married, how many kids you have, and what life looks like for your home these days?
Yeah, so I am a mom to 6 beautiful children. I had
Yeah.
6 in 6 years, so it was
Bam.
particularly crazy. There's a set of twins in there too. So, just kind of all the chaos happened all at once, and it was kind of fun. I've been married though for what year is it?
Uh, uh.
26. I've been married for in October it'll be 12 years.
Oh,
So,
nice.
been married for quite a while. And
Yeah.
loving that. Marriages their challenges and their ups and their downs and the growing and all the seasons, right?
Yeah.
But I love being married. I love my husband. And yeah, 6 kids in
Awesome.
6 years. It was
And tell me the
craziness.
ages, like what's the oldest and what's the youngest? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so the oldest is 8. I have 7-year-old twins, a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2.5-year-old.
Bam. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I love big families. That's my dream. So, or if you're listening, that's our goal. Well, never mind. Okay, keep going.
Let's come back to Texas.
Now, Rebecca, I love to step into your heart a little bit more, especially
Yeah,
now knowing of this cute things that you told us about. But you walked through seasons of motherhood where there have been a lot of unknown and big transitions. How
yeah.
does that how has this season of motherhood been in for you personally as a mom with all this transitions? How has it been? Like you, tell us about you.
Yeah, so I had a rocky start to motherhood. I'm not even going to lie on that one. My first pregnancy was rough, just weird diagnosis. It's what really started me down the train of becoming a labor doula, which I guess I forgot to mention that, but I'm a labor doula on top of all.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, my rocky start into motherhood actually kind of spurred me on this journey. And I dealt with postpartum depression pretty heavily
Mm.
with each of my kiddos. And so, rocky start to it. Throw in the mix. So had my oldest, and when he was 2 months old, my brother-in-law needed support, so we moved to Tennessee. So I pick up and I moved 2 states away from my family to my
That's
in-laws.
hard.
We're now living in the same house with in-laws, so like just things are just all over the place. He's actively going through a divorce, so there was a season of that was just a lot.
Mhm.
And then I 2 months later got pregnant with twins. And then
Cool.
everything that comes with a twin pregnancy, it was exciting, but it was also
Imagine.
chaos. I was in massive denial. Like, I was like, this is not happening right now. There's a few moments of like, God, you love me too much for this. And he just kind of laughed. And that's kind of the relationship we have. Where like, sometimes he answers, sometimes he doesn't. And sometimes he just kind of giggles and he's like, yeah, it's okay. You'll be fine.
Yeah. That's the
Um,
cool thing about God. He's sovereign and he knows the future and the past and
yeah,
everything else. So yeah, it's hard to
yeah,
trust him right in the middle of it, but then you push through that
yeah.
and then it's yeah.
Yeah. And that there were so many moments. Like, so we moved to Tennessee, we lived with them, then we had an apartment. Then we decided it was time to come back to Texas, moved into a camper, a travel trailer like y'all
Uh-huh.
are now. And I had not done enough internal work, honestly, to survive very well in a camper. I was dealing with high anxiety and all this stuff. And so the spring storms and everything got to me so bad. And so we very quickly started looking for a house.
Yeah.
Bought a house. I was pregnant through the window of living in the camper too. That was wild. So I was pregnant with number 4. It was a wild season. I had him literally less than a week after we moved in the house. It was like my body was just
Oh,
waiting for the
uh-huh.
chaos to stop.
Oh, wow.
And so, then we had a house for a little bit, and then we moved back into a camper after having baby number 5. And I got pregnant and had a baby while living in a camper, and then it got mold in it. The
Oh, that
person we had bought
sucks.
that camper from they weren't honest. And
Yeah.
so there were
Not
leaks
cool.
that they had not disclosed, and
Yeah.
we renovated it front to back and never
Wow.
noticed the leaks
Wow.
because we did it when it wasn't raining.
Yeah.
And so as soon as the fall storms kind of kicked in, well, it started leaking everywhere. So now I've got people like with rashes breaking out on their skin, and I'm trying to figure out why. And I was deep cleaning my house and pulled the couch away from the wall and found all the mold. And I was like, okay, we're moving out overnight. So then we moved in with friends. And so like motherhood has been a journey of just, what are you doing, Lord?
Yes.
Because it doesn't look like I thought it would.
Yeah.
It didn't. And so now we're in a beautiful, beautiful house. But
Wow.
the journey to get to that, like we'd moved in with friends, and then we moved into apartments that we could get into quickly, but in all just authenticity, they were low income apartments because that's what we could afford at the time.
Uh-huh.
And low income apartments have their own can of worms that come with it. You usually end up with bug infestations and just sad stuff that you should never have to deal with.
Yes.
And then it was a season of literally just tear stains on my journals from prayer time with the Lord, going, God, I've been asking you for this house. Like I've seen pictures of what I want in the house, and I've been asking you for this, and I've been begging you for this. And this is just like one tiny sliver of like the entire motherhood journey, right? But just tear stains in the journal of God, like, I've been asking for this and I've been asking for this. Where are you? What are you doing? What's my next steps? And so that's been like literally a lot of my motherhood journey is just, God, what's the next step?
Yeah.
I don't even have to know 20 years down the road, really. As much as that would be nice for my type A self.
Yeah.
Like, I just tell me what I'm supposed to do today. Tell me what I'm supposed to do tomorrow, because if I can just do that,
yes,
then we'll make it, you know?
And especially with little kids, they have their own seasons of changing and growing. Like you have a baby that needs to be with you, and then they start ¿cómo se dice? Gatear, crawling, and then they start walking. Like those start changing, and then you need to reassess and readjust what you're doing and the rhythm that you have at your house. Like, so you can go like that, and things of the house can go like that, and the kids can go like that too. So that's like a super roller coaster all around for everyone around. That's wow. That's impressive. That's crazy.
My husband was describing electrical waves and what makes like a 120 versus a 2 whatever or whatever. He's an electrician right now. And so he was like processing, you know, what makes the different electrical currents. And he was like, literally you have one that does this and one that does the opposite. And they do like, was it this one goes up and this one goes down? And they just kind of do this. I was like, oh, like my life. And he's like,
yeah. How do I get it?
I was like, I got that.
Oh, man. God is so good. It's crazy how electricity can relate to motherhood. That should be a book or something like that.
Right?
And then, okay, so in all of this, what has surprised you the most in this season of all of that? And then now here, like, what's one thing you could think about, like, oh man, this really surprised me in a good way or maybe a bad way? I don't know. What's something surprising about it?
That's a great question.
Right.
I think it surprised me the most that I didn't connect and bond with my oldest the way that I thought that I would. So backstory on that is I had been dreaming since I was probably 7 or 8 years old that I would be a wife and a mom. And like, we're talking like nightly. I had like sheets that had like a lace eyelet, and I would turn it in my wedding dress every single night and like dream up my wedding every night before I went to bed and all this stuff. So like I have been dreaming of having kids since I was little. And then for my first 4, for me to not really connect and bond with them the way that I thought that I would, where it was just like, I'm exhausted all the time. I'm not connecting. I'm not playful. I'm not having fun. I'm just surviving. And it was a season, but it was one that I was really shocked by.
Mm-hmm.
And with my youngest is where I really finally just surrendered to the process, really and truthfully, which was insane from the perspective of what that had to look like for me to actually truly surrender to it.
Yeah.
It was a lot of, we would just climb all in our queen size bed and I would turn on a show and let the kids watch TV all afternoon long. We would do stuff during the day or like during the morning, but after lunch, like it was nap time for the baby. Well, the best way to get the baby the nap, we co-slept, I breastfed. So I would lay down with baby to let him eat and sleep.
Uh-huh.
Well, for him to get that, they had to be quiet and calm. So we would just watch Donut Man on repeat on our TV, and they would switch out the DVDs themselves, and we made it work, right? And it created a healing process that then I started reconnecting then with all the others in kind of a backwards train. And so it's completely different now than what it was. But that was definitely shocking to me that like, I just thought it would be this magical, immediate bonding experience. And it wasn't for me. Like I cried when they were born. I loved them, you know, all the things, but it wasn't this magical moment that like a lot of moms talk about. And so
but even having to go through that hasn't made you even a better mom, like better than you had imagined on your dreams that you were little. So I love how God lets us go through things, and even though we don't appreciate them at the moment, they make us better. So That's awesome. And
So true.
I think so many moms can actually relate to walking through seasons where things don't fully settle, or they change a lot and they feel unpredictable, and all of that. They can relate to
Mhm.
that, even though we can have 1 or 6 or 10 kids. Like
Yeah.
we as mom can relate to that. How I don't know, have you experienced the Lord's grace in motherhood when life for that felt that uncertain? Like how have you seen his grace in that
My
uncertainty?
goodness, in so many ways. I will say I see his grace the most when I daily encounter him, because when I daily meet his face, especially if I find the time to get up a little bit before the kids and encounter
Uh-huh.
him, that's where I see his grace the most, right? Um, because I'm more patient if I've taken that time to meet
Yeah.
with him in the morning before the kids get up
Yeah.
for whatever reason, whatever it does here, like I just have so much more capacity. But it's literally things from the crazy things that kids can get into, because they can go from 0 to 90 in about 3 seconds.
Yep.
And because I have 6 so close together, it looks like, I'll use an example from about 2 weeks ago. They have never messed with my husband's back shed where he keeps all his tools and stuff. They've never messed with it. They knew it was off limits. Well, they
Huh?
decided about 2 weeks ago that looks like a lot of fun, and they found the spray paint.
Oh no.
So I'm inside doing school with one of my kids, and my younger 3 start coming in just covered in spray paint, and I'm going, no.
Señor.
Yes, exactly. And so it was a whole lot of like, I'm not going to lie, I have worked in fast food. I've worked in a
Wow.
lot of industries over the years. And so I don't always have the cleanest of mouths. I'm sorry, Lord. He's working on it. He really, really is. And so when I am lacking in his grace, the old me loves to rear its head and come out in ways that I wish that it wouldn't, in words that I wish that it wouldn't. And so
I
one
feel
of the
you.
big ways that I see his grace is just moments like that. And I'm able to just sit there and kind of close my eyes and go, Jesus, I need you right now. And then being able to immediately like open my eyes and go, okay, let's get you cleaned up. Let's go see who else got into it. Let's go see what else is going on.
Man.
And I'm not a crier, but there's been some moments where, boy, howdy, my kids have gotten into some things that were like deadly,
Yes.
because they have a way.
Uh-huh.
And it doesn't matter how much you lock them up. I don't know. They still find them. I
Yeah.
have not figured this out. Part of it was we had moved into this brand new house, and it was, like I said, a 50s farmhouse. Well, the previous owners were old, like 70s plus, and so they had stuck rat poison, not in a safety container, in the top of the closet.
Ooh.
And I had checked all the bottom shelves where I could reach, but I
Wow.
hadn't climbed to the top one yet because we just moved in. And we moved in, by the way, in the cluster of me having 4 women that gave birth in a week.
Whoa,
So I
that's
wasn't
bad.
home much to like look.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't home much to look into these things. And so, yeah, my kids got up there and they found it. And then they, while I was teaching school, snuck in the kitchen and got a butter knife, and they were like slicing it and chopping it up.
Santo Dios.
So I walk into the kids' closet and I just find it everywhere. And I was like, how much did they eat? What just happened?
Poison control
And
speed dial.
oh my goodness, the baby's in here, the dog's in here, like everybody's in here. What in the world just happened? And so, yeah, I ended up breaking down in tears instead of going, the cussing direction. I'm in tears and I'm calling my husband.
Coping
Like,
with it. Very good.
I can't handle calling poison control right now. Like, you're going to have to do that for me. I can't look like the crazy person right now. I need you to go. They couldn't understand me anyway. I'm hiccuping over here. Like, it was so bad. Come to find out, by the way, one child would have to eat the entire brick, apparently, for it to be a problem,
really?
according to poison control.
Well,
so that was the good news. And
yeah.
they didn't actually. They, like, licked it and were like, oh, that's disgusting. So they chopped it up and dumped it everywhere. So it was a nightmare to clean up.
Boy.
But it was fine.
That's one for the books. That's one for the books.
That was one for the books.
Hopefully you tell the kids that so they can, I don't know.
Any house you buy, check every shelf in the entire house.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So going back to that story about the house, I love hearing about it. Tell us, can you walk us through that story behind how you got from
Yeah.
that to where you're at right now with this house that it's starting to have its own stories.
It does. It has so many.
Can you walk us through that?
So, yeah, so we were living in the low income apartments, didn't have money for a down payment on a house, didn't have money to get into a better spot. And we're starting to see this bug infestation that they had not disclosed to us before we moved in.
Of course.
And so it just like months of me just crying out to the Lord and saying, Lord, I need a solution. This is not your best.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's not your best. I know it's not what you have for us in the long term. It was a great, like, middle of the road spot to get us from out of friend's house, but yet on our, on our own.
Yeah.
But I know this isn't your best for us. And so I need blueprints. I need strategies from heaven, because it's going to take blueprints and strategies from heaven for us to get into a house, because on paper, there's no way that we can get into a house. We're barely affording these apartments.
Okay.
And so our church did a finance class for free.
Good on them. Good on
And
them.
the people that are teaching it are financial industry, like that's what they work in. Mm-hmm. So it's not just bankers, like they're all over the financial spectrum. They work with loans, they work with all kinds of stuff. And so they are just taking all their wisdom and knowledge and just compacting it and saying, hey, but we've also prayed over it and we've already asked the Lord for his blueprints and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I looked at my husband one night and I said, we need breakthrough. You need to go talk to this guy right here. And he was kind of the main guy, Mr. PJ. He was over it. And I was like, you need to go talk to PJ and see, like, does he, with a fresh set of eyes on what we have going on, what does he see?
Yeah.
And so they prayed and they talked a little bit. And PJ was like, I need you to go look up a couple of pieces of information for me. Okay. And we'll talk about it next time. And one of the things was, while it's not an awesome thing to do to close out your 401k, sometimes when you are in this bubble where you desperately need a living situation to change, if you have a decent 401k, you can pull from it or possibly close it out. Mm-hmm. Now, you're going to have to rebuild your savings for your future. Yeah. You're going to have to rebuild all that, right? But if you have a desperate need for a living situation to change, sometimes that can help.
Yeah.
And so we went home and we looked it up, and $25,000. We instantly had a house down payment.
Wow.
Like at a blink of an eye. And so then it was praying, Lord, is this what you want us to use this for? Or should we just keep stewarding it and letting it build and grow? And pretty quickly, it kind of was like, okay, I feel like that's the right option, but we're going to leave it in its own account and let it keep building and growing and multiplying, right? Because the Lord talks about the different talents, right? The 1, the 2, and the 5 or whatever. The 1, the 5, and the 10 or whatever. And stewarding the talents and to invest it and not just bury it in the sand. So we're like, we're going to leave it invested. Yeah. We're not going to bury our talent in the sand. We're going to let God grow it how he wants to. But we're going to start looking for houses. And so we start looking around. And boy, that is a journey.
Yes,
it's such a journey.
Yes.
We went out so many times. And we've worked with the same realtor off and on for the last 10 years. It's somebody that I knew before I even met my husband. This guy is phenomenal. He's a spirit-filled Christian. So he's like praying that we find the perfect house. Nice. His wife is praying that we're finding the perfect house. We're praying. My parents are praying. Grandparents are praying. Like we have a warrior intercession.
Yeah. It's like, let me take a note. Hold on. Wait.
Yeah. Yeah. And then think about like the months and the years of me going, Lord, when you provide me the dream house, I really want the thin plank, narrow wood, hardwood floors, like the old style ones. Yeah. I want very a large specific kitchen, very specific. I think at one point I even told him what color I wanted. Like, nice. Yeah, like I was like, I want a really big back porch. My husband wants he wants a big porch, but like I don't want it in the front yard because if it's big and in the front yard, then the kids are loose. Nice. I want it in the backyard. I'd like a really big tree so the backyard's shaded. Nice. I really want a school space, like a designated school space, whether that's a room in the house or a separate building or whatever. I don't really care. Mm-hmm. I just want a designated school space.
Yeah.
We need an extra place to store our extra stuff and bikes and, tools and all that. So like literally I have this list of things that I want.
Nice.
And I love older houses. I love them so much. And so I was like, also download. If you gave me an older house, I would love that too. And I was like, and I don't want anything very big. That's the thing. I loved the season of living in the camper because it was small and you can clean the house in like 30 to 45 minutes from like utter chaos to spick and span. You've deep cleaned it. It's like 45 minutes. And I'm not going to get that in a house, right? But I was like, I still don't want a 3,000 square foot house. I really don't. I just want something small, but enough, And so, so I've had years of praying for this as well. Like it is in notes and journals for years, right? And so we're in the season of we're looking, and it took us from about November to January to find the house. And which is really not bad, but it felt very defeating for quite a while because we would go out and the stuff that was in our budget, it wasn't affordable.
No, I feel you. I know.
And so it wasn't affordable at all. And so, the nice ones were affordable. The ones that were affordable were just not good. What did they do here when they lived here? This is dilapidated. It's falling apart. I'm worried that if I break into this wall, I'm not sure what I'm going to find on the other side of that. And afraid it was going to be another situation where literally the camper where we were going to find mold off and on the whole time because they were not good houses. We hit this point, beginning of January, I was like, Lord, I'm willing to give up this dream and us just show us another apartment. I will release the dream to you, but I need a good living situation for my kids. And we really felt like he said, go look one more time. And it kind of felt like that, Peter, just throw your net one more time. Just cast it over one more time. And so I pulled it up. And I was scoping all these websites, right? I'm in Zillow, I'm in realtor.com and all this. And I pull up realtor.com. And the first house that comes up is this 50s farmhouse that went on the market 2 days beforehand. I kid you not.
Okay.
And I had been capping our search at $200,000 because that's what we were we can comfortably do this, right? And I felt like God was bump it up to 210 and just get a slightly bigger pool because with haggling and stuff, you can usually get that price down to what you need. And I said, okay. So I bumped it to 210. This house was $205,000 or something like that. It might have been a little higher. I don't remember. I really don't remember. He worked out so many details on the backside of it, but we found it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to add it to the list. But I'm not really sure. And so we looked at 3 or 4 other houses earlier in the day. They were all busts. And we pull into our neighborhood, and I kid you not, where we live, you have to drive through. We call it Mr. Potiphar's neighborhood. So if you've ever watched It's a Wonderful Life,
no,
I
haven't
watched it. Black and white Christmas movie, It's a Wonderful Life. There's it's set during the start of the Great Depression, and it's a banker that's questioning his life decisions, and is he, is it really worth being here? And an angel comes and kind of walks him through what life would have looked like if he wasn't there. And there's this whole neighborhood of just slum houses.
Okay.
Teeny tiny slum houses. And that was all people had to live in because the bank that he runs and refused to let shut down wasn't there because he had decided that he didn't want to be on the earth anymore and he had ended his life. So anyway,
I want to watch it.
The angel's come on, this is what you've done to help. And so we call it Mr. Potiphar's neighborhood because it's just teeny tiny, postage stamp houses that have to be 1 to 2 bedrooms.
Yeah.
They're not very well kept up and all this. And so you're driving through this and I'm like, Nathan, this is going to be another bust. Yeah. And, we pull on the street and all of a sudden it's nice houses. And I was like, well, hold on. We just changed entire. And we pull up and it's the oldest house on the block that we're pulling up to. And I'm like, okay. But we step out of our car and we step on the property and I immediately feel the Lord.
Man.
His presence was thick on the property. And I was like, I have to have the house. This has to work out. And my husband's like, I feel it too. And that was like one of our big deals, is we just asked that the Lord would really highlight and show us, right? So anyway, speed up the story a little bit. We get inside the house. There's a cross on the wall. We see scripture on the wall. We see scripture in the backyard. And I said, I can tell you exactly what happened. These people encountered the Lord in this house.
Man,
they potentially raised their children here. Just like, oh my goodness. It has thin, narrow hardwood floors. It has a gigantic kitchen. They had done a $30,000 kitchen remodel in it in the early 90s. So it is like, custom cabinets, beautiful countertops. Like, it is everything that I wanted. There are 2 outdoor sheds. So the smaller one became our schoolroom, our schoolhouse. And so I got my schoolhouse. And then we've got my husband's, shed. It's about 1,500 square foot. So it's not too big. Well, the house itself is about 1,500 square foot.
Gotcha.
So it's not too big. It's not too small. It's just right. There's a boys' room. There's a girls' room. There's, our room. And it's easy to clean the house. It needed renovation. So we get to put our own stamp on it, which we absolutely adore doing. And there's a few rooms that don't have the thin hardwood floors. So we bought the house, moved in. God moved heaven and earth for us to get in, because we were running into block after block after block, and we kept going back to the Lord. I'm like, Lord, they said we need X amount of dollars and I don't have it. And all of a sudden my phone would start ringing, and 4 clients called me and booked and paid down payments.
Thank you, Jesus. Wow.
And a client I already had booked calls me and she goes, hey, I need your information because I'm going to send you the rest of the money that I owe you. Wow. And just money flew in overnight. My father-in-law did provide a little bit of it, and we paid him back. But it was beautiful. God was in the details. And every time we'd look at each other and go, this must be what he wants us to have, because he moved mountains for us here.
Wow.
And so afterwards we had to rip up flooring in our bedroom because they had carpet, and in the process of them moving out, the dogs had gotten scared and defecated underneath the bed. And so when we moved in, we were like, the house did not smell like this when we looked at it. What got in there, ripped out the carpet in the middle of the night because it was that bad.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, Lord, you gave me this house. You gave me this house. I don't have money to replace the floor. So we're living with plywood in the bedroom, essentially. And I was like, Lord, I'd love another miracle. I mean, I know you've already provided so many of them, but I just, Dula calls me up or texts me, and she's like, hey, do you happen to want some hardwood flooring? We're ripping it out of our house. She sends me the picture. It's the same color.
Wow.
It's the same width. It's the same flooring.
God,
from a different house on the other side of the Metroplex. She goes, you just have to come pick it up. So we've completely replaced the flooring in our master bedroom and in the kids' bathroom because it was tile and the flooring was kind of rotting and things like that. So we replaced it. So now I've got about half of what I need to finish fixing the kitchen, because I guess you can tell that there used to be wood flooring in there, but something must have happened. And so they just tiled over it. And then the master bathroom is tiled. And so I've got about half what I need to work on that. And she has several more rooms she's about to rip through and give me more flooring. And I was like, when you are in it, you are in it, Lord. And so it's been amazing.
Mom's praying. Trusting God. He works it out. He does. He loves you and he wants to take care of you. He knows best. Wow. Well, it takes faith though. It takes work. It takes patience. It takes that's awesome. Now, in all of this roller coaster, the miracle provision, I know that you're very, like you said, you're very type A. You're very organized and all of that. What has helped you begin creating a structure in your home even with all of this change and then provision and how and then with a big family too. So what has helped you the most?
Yeah. So there's been a couple of things, and there's been a give and take with it over the years, because I'm very type A. My husband is very so far polar opposite that it's funny. Opposites attract.
Yeah.
They really do. And then my kids kind of take after my husband. So they really don't care. And it's a teaching process with the kids, right? They don't know what they don't know. And so as far as structures that we've had in place, it's been things like, hey, we're going to keep 5 days worth of clothes. We don't need, and it was something that we started when we moved into the camper because I didn't have space for it. And we just have kind of tried to keep it pretty close to that. We'll keep 5 to 7 days worth of clothes, give or take. of like play clothes, and then I try to keep a couple of church outfits, or like, and so there's a little mix up. But off-season clothes get stored in the back shed.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason to have the off-season clothes in the house. There's just not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then too, because little kids, right? The favorite thing to do is to take all the clothes out of the drawer and dump it back on the floor. And then you're like, that's clean? Is that dirty? Like, what goes back in the drawer? What doesn't? So just trying to like, besides the fact that once you get 8 people's worth of clothes at 7 days a piece, like that's a lot of clothes in the house.
Yeah.
And so there's that too.
Nice.
But yeah, just minimizing how many clothes, because that was super helpful. We minimized dishes. It was another thing that we started when we moved into the camper. You don't need 12 days worth of dishes in your cabinet. It's kind of the American dream to have that amount of dishes, right? But like, I really need one plate, one bowl, right? And one cup, like that's, and then you just wash it if you have to in between. Like it's not a big deal. We have a couple more dishes now that we're in the house. I'm not going to lie. Like not really. I have about 5. I've got like 5 glass plates, or not Corelle, so that if they're still going to break if they hit the tile floor. But, we got like 5 Corelle dishes and like 7 plastic plates, because I can't bring myself to get rid of the plastic plates. We use them when we go on camping trips is really what it is. So it's my camping dishes, and we needed extra, so we just brought them in the house.
Nice.
Because why go buy more if we already have them?
True.
But yeah.
Amazing.
So just like really bringing that down. A recent one that my husband and I started, he grew up very low income, and God really poured out and blessed his family and just provided the whole way. But I got to talking with him, and I'm like, honestly, we've got to come up with a better structure for mealtime, because I feel like we either eat the 2 same meals on repeat all the time, or I'm like on Pinterest trying to come up with meals, and then it ends up really expensive, and it's a problem. And he said,
there's a lot too. You get information overload too, so it has its downside too. Yeah.
So he said, what we did when I was a kid is we had a 2-week rotation. And so we knew week 1, we ate these foods for dinner. And week 2, we ate these foods for dinner.
Nice.
And you just rotate. And so if you would buy a condiment or something for one of the meals, you would then use it 2 weeks later. So you weren't wasting condiments in the fridge. You weren't wasting all this extra space and everything. And I was like, this is actually doable. I've been working on some health stuff with me, so I can't eat pasta like I had been. And so, maybe we're not doing spaghetti the way most people do it, but you can go get a spaghetti squash, and you can cook down a spaghetti squash, and you can still do spaghetti. It's still pretty cheap.
Nice.
Right. And so, and like they would do things like they'd buy a turkey and they'd cook it on Sunday, and they'd use it for leftovers all through the week.
Wow.
And so just finding these ways that you can take one big meat and use it. And I said, this is actually probably why our grandmothers didn't get so stressed out at life, if you think about it.
See.
Like they knew on Monday I'm cleaning this, on Tuesday I'm cleaning this. If I'm not home on Tuesday, I'll clean it the next Tuesday. It's fine.
Exactly.
It's not going to go that long.
Nice.
And I know what I'm cooking because I know what day of the week it is. And suddenly we've unpacked all the stress because we know exactly what's happening, and we're not trying to reinvent the wheel every single week. And so that's just been a huge helpful blessing.
Well, you actually came through with our Mama Wonder wisdom. You gave us not just one, but many of them. And I'm like, I'm going to rewatch this, and I'm going to start writing down some moms. Rewind it and then start writing those things down. Whether you have 1 kid or 10, I think those are really good tips. Thank you, Rebecca. That's good.
My latest mom hack too has been to make like one lunch for myself. So I do like egg roll in a bowl. It's like 2 pounds of turkey, 8 cups of coleslaw mix, and some seasonings. Super easy. Anyway, I make it, and then I just portion it out. So every single day, I don't have to think about lunch. I just pull my container.
That's a whole lot of
It's a whole lot of stress off, Rebecca, and then I'm still eating a good amount of food.
Nice. We need to do a series of family organization and then cooking tips. This is amazing. Thank you, Rebecca.
You're welcome.
Man, this is wonderful. I'm going to get back to you. We're going to do another one because all of these were good. But we're going to close this conversation, and I would like for you to pray for the moms that we're going to be listening to this podcast, and even for their families. Maybe they have their own struggles, whatever it is. Can you pray with us for that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let's pray.
Father, we just love you and we thank you. We adore you. You are holy. You are beautiful. You are lovely, Father. Lord, I ask that for the women that are listening today, Lord, that you would begin to move the mountains, that you would flatten the mountains, that you would raise the valleys, Father, that you would give them divine blueprints and strategies from heaven right now, Lord, that they would begin to hear your voice and see the next step, Lord, because we know that if we follow that next step, that you will make our path straight, Lord.
Yes.
So, Lord, I ask that you would do creative miracles, that you would remove the boundaries, Lord, and that you would give them strategies, your divine strategies for their day, for their household. Lord, I ask that you would clothe them in your armor from the tops of their heads to the bottoms of their feet, Lord, so that they would begin to walk through their days completely covered in you.
Sí, Señor.
Because each piece of your armor is so helpful, Father.
Yes.
Lord, I ask that you would strengthen and fortify them, Lord, for those that are still praying, possibly for children to run across this. Lord, I ask that you would open their wombs. For those that need creative miracles for the children in the seasons of life that they're in, Lord, I ask that you would give them creative solutions.
Yes.
For those praying for community, Father, I ask that you would show them the people to reach out to and the ways and the strategies to find community and to build that community, Father. For those that need healing in marriages and in life, Father, I ask that you would touch their hearts and their minds, that they would feel you holding them and touching the areas, Father. In Jesus' name.
Yes. Amen. Amen. Rebecca, thank you so much for that prayer. And thank you for trusting us with part of your story, those tips, those Wonder Mama tips. I know that sharing these kinds of moments aren't really easy to put into words, but you did amazingly. And I truly believe that a lot of moms are going to be encouraged by what they just listened. And if you're a mom who's listening and you're expecting, or even if you know a friend who is, well, Rebecca is someone you want on your corner. The way she cares for and support moms is so special. Believe me, I've been the recipient on that side of that. So just look her up in intercessory.
Intercessory birth.
Intercessory birth. That's the word I kept reading. I'm like, how do I say it? Well, say it again. Look it up on Facebook.
Intercessory birth.
Again.
Intercessory birth.
Intercessory birth. There you have it. Hopefully you're not going to forget. So go again and look it up. You'll love her. To my lovely Wonder Moms, the quiet work you are doing in your home matters more than you know. God sees us and He's faithful at working in your life and in the hearts of your children that He put in your hands. Chicas, if this conversation spoke to your heart today, consider sharing it with another mom in your life. Sometimes a simple conversation like this one can be an encouragement and even giving good tips that a mom will really appreciate. So share it with someone. Thank you for spending this time with us here and Behind the Mic. And if this conversation again encouraged you, share it. And please listen to our family podcast, Wonderkeepers. That's how it started. Or Behind the Mic started from Behind the Mic started from the Wonderkeepers Podcast. That's the podcast where I co-host with my kids and we explore the wonder of God's creation through devotionals, adventures in Christ, adventures in science and history, old and Christ-centered exploration, all of that. All right. Until next time, have a beautiful Mother's Day, no matter when you're listening to this, because like my mom always tells me, every day is an opportunity to celebrate the blessing of being a mom. Have a blessed day, y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. You're so awesome. This was so good. I want to keep talking to you. We're going to have to do it again. I'll tell you.